I said, look, we have to be responsible.
The latest report by the Institute of Economic Affairs shows that Kenyans are in love with Mitumba clothes. The report shows that in 2023 alone, over 24.2 million Kenyans bought and wore second-hand clothes with earnings of up to 16 billion shillings from the Mitumba business. Has Kenya become a Mitumba nation and a dumping ground for second-hand clothes? Well, Esther Diana interrogates.
For every consignment of second-hand clothes imported into the country, the government collects a total of 1.9 million shillings. In 2023, 2 million jobs were created through the trade of Mitumba. Therefore, experts aver that to wish away Mitumba is to deny millions of Kenya's youth and women a source of livelihood. Additionally, they have said that the government itself could miss out on 12 billion shillings in tax revenues that is collected every year from this trade.
Instead of wishing one way, embracing both second-hand and locally produced apparel could promote economic inclusion.
The imports of Mitumba correlates with the fact that Kenya does not have a robust textile industry. You know, people say, look, there's a lot of dumping and some people are dumping textiles, things that should have been discarded. Who is going to pay $14,000, $15,000 for a container that is being dumped?
During the same period, 197,000 tons of second-hand clothing were imported into the country. This is almost half of new clothes consumed in the same period. The consortium of Mitumba and the Institute of Economic Affairs says the widespread demand for used clothing reflects lower income levels in the country. The institution is asking the government to regulate the new and used clothes market separately as they follow separate value chains, have different supply and demand patterns.
The demand from Mitumba in Kenya is a very hot industry. Is consistent with the fact that people should demand more or spend more in clothes as their incomes grow.
There is need for a policy framework that balances and supports both Mitumba and local production.
Kenya's labor market comprises of 20.6 million people. 10% of this figure is domiciled in the Mitumba sector. To protect these workers and households, the government has been urged to allow for the coexistence between the Mitumba and textile and the apparel manufacturing sectors.
They think the taxes are a bit high, and that question needs to be known. Be discussed, partly because obviously when you have very high taxes, the first thing that happens is, one, you encourage the cheating, some of what we see here. So it's important to have a level of tax that actually encourages maximum compliance.
The influx of cheap second-hand clothing has been blamed for the collapse of Kenya's textile industry, which back in the 80s supported over 200,000 households. Today, the sector is a shadow of its former self. Now, this has awakened retaliation from state in form of taxation in a bid to restrict